Checking, mic check. All right. We are starting the stream. And let's see if it's okay, Twitch has gone live. Let's check Facebook. Um just waiting for the Facebook notification to come up before we start. Um yeah, while we're just warming up the show, I'm a go um there we go. We'll get some water. So I'll be right back. I will leave you with the counter screen and the lovely music we have there. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Sorry we started a bit late today. Had some trouble putting some of these things together. But yes, we will be right back. Oh, on Twitch? Yeah, I forgot to change the tags on Twitch. You are completely right. So I can just update click update information on the Twitch dashboard, right? And it should only affect the Twitch stream. Hey, Dutchcasts. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Santagoy. Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you guys. Yes, I can do that. All right, awesome. So, yeah, let's get the right tags in. So, English, AMA, gaming news, and RPG seem about right. I guess pop culture. I don't know. Something like I guess it's popular enough these days, right? So there we go. Update information. Twitch should have the right stuff now. Guys, let me know. Like, have the notifications come up on Facebook? If so, I'm gonna share. It has. So I'm gonna share this, and then we'll start the stream proper. All right. We've got a few viewers in, so no good reason why we can't just launch into it now. So without further ado, here we go. Let's get this thing started. All right. Hello, everyone. So, yeah, welcome to week. Uh, another week of gaming news in review. Yeah, you're not here to ruin my my musical score. I'm just kidding, JP. Um, we miss your obnoxious sound effects. Um, yeah. So welcome, welcome back to Table Talk. Um, for those of you who are listening, watching for the first time, uh, yeah, we have noontime streams and evening streams. So you may have caught the one earlier where JP talked about everything to do with his beloved D&D. Belated happy Gygax Day, by the way, to everyone out there. Um, and tonight it's me, and I will be handling everything else, not D&D. So just want to say, yeah, thank you. I see a lot of our regulars. Well, two of our regulars are already listening in. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Lichcast and Santagoy, for um, being quick to tune in as soon as the notifications come in. Thank you so much. Um, Let me just check a couple of things on Facebook. Let's double check that everything is okay. Anything? I was gonna ask. Yeah, so we'll get to this in a bit. But yeah, before we do, I just want you guys to let me know if you see or rather if you hear, if the audio's good or not. And if it's the latter, I'm gonna try my best to fix it. Now, JP, there is something not good as far as JP is concerned, which is that Catan on the Switch doesn't have local multiplayer. It does have multiplayer, but it's just not the local kind. Um, anyone anyone care to guess as to why? Before we before we launch into it, anyone care to guess why you would not have local multiplayer for um the Switch version of Settlers of Catan, or really any computer version of Settlers of Catan? Anyone care to guess? Let's see. I'm keeping an eye on chat. Cards? What about the cards? Lichcasts? I think you're on the right track. Lazy devs. Guys, JP gets so salty. I don't know if you like Civ had hot seat MP. Mm. Yeah, exactly. So okay, let's get into this. Let's get into this. So, local multiplayer was more frustrating than fun, according to the devs that made Catan for Nintendo Switch. So let's get into it. This is from Polygon.com by Emily Heller and Charlie Hall. So, Catan, one of the most popular board games of the last few decades, and the game credited with kicking off a tabletop boom, recently came to Nintendo Switch. So, I am a big fan of Catan. It's one of the games that we used to play like every day in our household, but we are short on players. We're kind of waiting for Naomi to I guess when Naomi like hits that age, like when she's what, 7 or 8, like we'll see regular Catan games again. But um, for myself, Edwina, and even our caretaker, Jen, we really got into it. We really got into Catan, and back when Edwina's brother was staying with us, like we would play this non-stop every day after work. But since he's moved out, we haven't really had a fourth player. And honestly, three-player Catan sucks. It sucks. It's not as fun. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't say I'm passionate about Catan, but I do, yeah, I do enjoy being good at this. So hey Sin, thanks for tuning in on Facebook for repping on that platform. Thank you so much. Hello. So yeah, um, Charlie Hall and what's her name? Emily Heller. We're excited to try it out, especially since they assumed it would mean their friends and themselves could play a casual game of Catan without the extensive setup. It's not even that extensive, but okay. But when they booted up the game looking for a local multiplayer option, it was nowhere to be found. There is an online multiplayer mode, so in theory, they could play an online game together while physically in the same room. Of course, that means everyone playing needs their own Switch and Nintendo Switch online account, which is far from a given. So at first, they were annoyed. What's the point of a digital board game if it can't be enjoyed with friends, just like a board game? Which I think is the key thing to keep in mind. So you want to enjoy this just like how you enjoy the actual board game of Catan, and I think the devs wanted that too. We'll get back to that later. So, and their own copy of the game. That's that is that is correct. So, um, they say that yeah, their families have spent many long car rides playing digital versions of popular games like Ticket to Ride and Pandemic. So why didn't Asmodee Digital include what seems to be like an essential feature in arguably its biggest title? So they talked. A representative got in contact with Polygon, and they assured that local multiplayer was initially planned for the Switch version of Catan, but that both technical and game design constraints prevented it from making it to the final version. In contrast to a game like Monopoly or Small World, where all the cards are literally on the table, hidden information in the form of resource and development is a core part of Catan's gameplay. Being able to see what everyone is working with would prevent essential Catan strategies, like pulling out a surprise win with development cards. Fair enough, but what about pass and play? So this is what JB's been saying with Hot Seat MP. You end your turn, it shifts to another player's, I guess, table state or something, and yeah, it's their turn to fiddle around. So one of the Switch's best features is portability, after all, and their favorite time to play digital board games is on long travel days when pulling out a game board is impractical. But Asmodee claims that the constant player interaction between turns, such as trading, deteriorate the user experience and would excessively lengthen game pacing. So, according to Arnd Bienen, the head of digital at Catan, GmbH, what's that? Very few people were even using the pass and play feature when it was offered on mobile devices anyway. In a conversation with Bienen, Catan creator Klaus Tuber, and Tuber's son Benjamin, who manages Catan licensing, the men agreed that a local multiplayer option is annoying and clunky, fundamentally throwing off the game's balance. So, to be honest, Bienen says, pass and play always felt clumsy and complicated because during a turn of Catan, you're interacting a lot with your opponents. So it was more frustrating than fun handing over the device multiple times. And therefore, after a lot of discussion, um, they decided to drop that feature in favor of a campaign and additional Seafarer expansions, so you'll have more fun as a single player. He added that for us, the digital versions of Catan are never a replacement for the board games. It's always a supplement, just another way to enjoy it. Um, so there you have it. If you're looking to play Catan with a group, your best bet is to bust out the physical board game. For Catan fiends who just can't get enough, the digital version is, well, I guess, supposed to be a fine substitute. So let's catch up with chat. Lichcast says, yes, trading. And yeah, $60 for a copy of the game is a bit too much. I agree. That's hefty. Um, JP says that's shitty. It already exists on Android, so why did they actively remove? I guess you mean hot seat multiplayer. Let the players deal with the frustration, especially if it's the only way for them to play local MP. Well, um, yeah, I guess you can. Yeah, you can argue that. right? Like they already had a version of that format in um another platform. So why not just let people have, have their way with it, right? I agree. But I also I can understand why, yeah, I can understand why maybe they wanted this part to be, they didn't want it marring this this I don't know, this version of the game. Like you can imagine if they let that in there, um the same people, maybe me, if I had that version of the game, I'd be complaining about it being like this doesn't work. Like you can, you know, like you pass it, but you can kind of see others' cards anyway or something. I would, yeah. Um, other people would complain about it not being, uh, yeah, faithful to the board game experience in those ways that they mentioned, right? Um, there are ways around showing each other's persistent board state. Players have mobile phones. Yeah, like the way they did. What suite of games is that? The one that Drawful is part of. Essentially, it's on Steam, and you use the internet and people. Yeah, the Jackbox Party Pack. Yes. So maybe it's just yeah. It could be lazy developers like what you're saying. I think it's just um more of it seems to be that they had the conversation with the creators and the creator's son, and they're going by like whatever they decided at that at that table. So yeah, either way, there are like what, like portable, like I saw this at what's the name of that shop in Shang where they sell the board games in the new wing. I forget, but I think it's like gaming table or something. But yeah, they have a nice handy like a portable katan kit. It's like it's like it looks like those Hershey's God, what do you call those? The Hershey's that aren't chocolate. The gaming library, yeah, gaming lib. And basically it folds out from the middle to make the katan board. And I kind of want it. I kind of want it. It's like the perfect thing to take on trips. And like, if you're on a picnic and you don't have a flat surface to game on, that seems like an awesome something I'd want to have or when we go to the beach and for some reason want to play Catan. All right. Now, speaking of other things, other board games that have made the jump to their video game versions, and I don't know, JP already I think has access to this on Steam. So I wonder, how it is, like if he's played it, but um so Gloomhaven's PC port apparently is running into a bit of trouble. So, Charlie Hall, again on Polygon, reports that uh, the Steam, the Steam game, we're out enjoying nature. Yeah, like it'd be a very Catan thing to do because presumably you arrive, by boat at the shore, and I don't know. It's it's not for when you're actually on the beach. I guess it's what is going on in my head. Like it's for when you're after being on the sand, like when you're back at the hut, the kubo, the hotel room, whatever, and you want to play board games. Aha, so JP has played it. Too confusing and bare bones. Yeah, it says incomplete port right in the sub headline. So we'll get into that in a bit. Lichcast says nights on the beach are boring. Yes, like it's either you're eating or you're drinking or getting inebriated in some other way, or yeah, like why not throw board games in there to help pass the time before going to bed, right? Um, anyway, let's get into this. So, Gloomhaven is among the most popular board games in the world right now, riding high on the back of not one, but two extremely successful Kickstarter campaigns. On the table, it's a fast moving, dynamic role playing campaign in a box. And the PC version, which released just last week on Steam Early Access, manages to all but crush the life out of it. The final product won't be ready until 2020 at the earliest, and for now, Polygon honestly recommends waiting it out. So, the tabletop version of Gloomhaven is known for two interesting mechanics: its branching narrative campaign and its diceless tactical combat. JP says he has never played the physical board game. I haven't either, because it's quite a hefty board game. But yeah, um, I I hope people come out with let's plays of the early access version. Like I would love to see how this goes, especially because apparently I should wait it out until we see a more complete port of this board game. So continuing with the article, as for the campaign, Gloomhaven is a joy to discover. Players sit down with a blank map and using a set of stickers and other sealed pack-ins build a world together over the course of dozens of gameplay sessions. Imagine if Hero Quest and Pandemic Legacy had a baby, and you're only just beginning to scratch the surface. So, there are more than a few surprises inside the nearly 20-pound game box that Polygon won't spoil. And thankfully, all of them are destined to make their way into the digital games campaign mode. Um, all that the digital version of Gloomhaven has to offer today is the diceless tactical combat, which, according to JP, the game doesn't even teach you how to play it. And according to Polygon, as it's implemented currently, it's terrifically boring. Let's find out why they have this to say. Mm, JP also says the UI is bad. Aside from there being no tutorial, the UI is bad and the UX is bad. Wait, UI is user interface. What is UX? Okay, hang on. Just need to send something uh, to my wife over on Messenger. Let's pause for a bit. Messenger, there we go. Okay, alrighty, let's continue with the show. UX is user experience. Okay. Lichcast says, why would you play a game based off of Hero Quest when Hero Quest is the absolute best game ever made? I can imagine you doing that whole spiel, that whole video. I think you could pull it off, Eric. Okay, JP shares more that it assumes you've already played the board game, but based on reviews from people who have also played both, it sucks anyway. Uh, yeah, that video is awesome. I also love that Tailspire tapped the guy to essentially do his Hero Quest spiel for Tailspire, like about Tailspire. Because one of Tailspire's, like, in case you haven't noticed, like, with its art direction, um, one of its biggest influences, you know, has been Hero Quest, and replicating that experience in a 3D, digital world or app. Um, Yeah, so they got the guy. It's pretty awesome. It's their no, it's their Kickstarter video. All right, back to Gloomhaven. So in every round of Gloomhaven, every player at the table privately selects a pair of actions from their own unique deck of cards. Those actions are then folded in with the actions of the game's enemies, which follow a prescribed pattern. Okay? The entire stack of cards is then organized in order from lowest to highest based on the number printed at the top of each card. So I guess that's like action speed, right? Okay. The intricate design of the game means that the actions of sneaky rogues go off early each round. Working alongside them are plodding, powerful fighters whose huge swings take a bit longer to develop. There's an entire spectrum of characters and classes that live in between, and every round of combat is a tense negotiation about attacks, movements, debuffs, and more. So once those actions are finalized, the round of play goes off like an unstoppable chain reaction. It's frenetic and terrifying and often spiced with unpredictable consequences. Oh my god, it's really making me actually want to get the board game itself. This sounds like an awesome, yeah. I haven't read about Gloomhaven in so long, but this makes me excited. You know, um, it brings back that excitement of when I first heard about how Gloomhaven plays. It's a really, can't wait to hear about how the PC port uh, messed it up. As it stands right now, virtually none of that unpredictability exists in the digital version of the game. That makes the experience of playing Gloomhaven extremely dry, a bit like poking at a particularly well animated spreadsheet. Eeh. Okay. I mean, I like games like Football Manager, which are essentially spreadsheet games, but okay, let's see. To the developer's credit, the 3D character and enemy models are exceptional. I'd argue they look far better than what comes in the box. All of the miniatures in the physical game are a bit flat, with the same sort of curious contortions as plastic army men. Meanwhile, all the enemies in the retail product are literally flat because they're made out of cardboard. The digital version is a step up, and the animations add an impressive amount of color to the experience. But it's amazing to me how much I miss rifling through a short stack of cards while I play. Okay. So yeah, UX issues. Here's hoping that the developers borrow liberally from games like Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering Arena, which have made the act of playing with digital cards much more enjoyable than simply choosing from a list. Aside from the lame user interface, my biggest complaint by far is the lack of multiplayer. Gloomhaven will be a solitary game until launch, which right now is set for some time in 2020. By that time, you could have chipped in the 25 bucks and gone in on the original game with four friends and still had beer money left over. After a long period of unavailability, Gloomhaven is actually shipping overnight via Amazon Prime. You can also find it on the shelf at most friendly local game stores. Okay, let's catch up with the chat. Uh, JP says, "I'd like to think I'm a pretty experienced PC gamer and can figure out my way around a UI. I've successfully figured out how to play old school games whose physical manuals have long rotted away and that have sparse info online, if any at all. However, to give an example, I have no idea how to make my guys use items in Gloomhaven PC. Oh no. Okay, yeah, so yeah, bad UI, bad UX, half baked, no tutorial, so people are not having a good time with this game. Man, that sucks. It's a good thing too that I didn't jump on early access then. So yeah, hooray for you know EQ. Let's see some comments. Okay, that's a shame. I was hoping to pick this up due to the sheer price and size of the physical board game. Mm-hmm. Mm, let's see. Okay, so if you haven't played the board game already, I would definitely recommend waiting to pick up the video game until it's at least closer to launch. This review sells the early access version incredibly short. The developers have been very clear about what you're getting early access, the core of the game, and nothing else. However, as someone who has played Gloomhaven for almost 2 years, Smiley, with a 1 for an L, says he absolutely loves the early access version. It's going to be a hell of a game when it launches, with 2 campaigns: multiplayer, combat, deck customization, and more. So, I guess it's an expectations thing. I mean, that's one perspective here, is that if you haven't been, I don't know, like on the devs like Discord server or forums or whatnot, yeah, you may have been in for an unpleasant surprise, right? When an unpleasant surprise when you got this game, when you got Gloomhaven early access, because you wouldn't know that all the developers are promising at this point for early access is just, being able to move. I guess what the core of the game means is that um just having the bare board game mechanics, being able to move the pieces around and just kind of play solitaire. Yeah, so yes, um that would maybe, if you went into it knowing that it's super just the core of the game and nothing else, this you might not have had as bad of a reaction as most. This guy like is professes that he's played Gloomhaven for almost 2 years. So, one, he must know what he's talking about, and two, he seems excited. He says he absolutely loves the early access version. I guess it looks promising to someone like this who is passionate about the game, or rather the board game. So, yeah. And yes, I don't need a high EQ to not buy into early access. I was just, giving myself a pat on the back. Sorry. Yeah, so it looks like a lot of the people who are saying mm, that they've played the game, um, the board game anyway. They tend these people in the comments section are trying to reiterate that it is super early access. So Jello, aka Aaron, is saying on his comment that all the rest of the character classes, multiplayer, the full campaign, and loads of quality of life additions are slated over the next year or so. So yeah, just temporary expectations. But if you want to, I don't know, like what does early access get you? Does it get you um like the full version of the game on launch? Let me check. Gloomhaven. So right now it's at 549, 550, 550 bucks, pesos, that is on Steam early access, which equates to around like 11 US dollars. Excuse me. Um yeah. Does getting it early access mean you get the full game when it launches? I am not seeing that news, and I don't know if that's how it works with normal early access games. On Steam, yes. Okay, awesome. Well, presumably, I think one of the benefits of early access, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you get the game cheaper than at uh, the full version's launch, right? At a lower price. Did I get that right? Usually, that's how it works with early access. All right, thank you. yeah, so if that is your play, right? You want to you want to get the game at a lower price point, then yeah, just I guess be patient, um and temper your expectations of what you're about to purchase. All right, JP, thank you for joining us on stream. But and yeah, see you around. Thanks for contributing so much. I think it's a good thing that we started with these two topics because they're both relevant to you, and you're able to join, in the conversation so much while while you were with us tonight. So yeah, take care, man. See you around. Chat is super delayed. Oh no. Let's give you a chance to catch up, Lichcasts. All right. We completely forgot to go with the first topic, which is about professional GMing, DMing. I guess we can just move that to the you know, last topic again on the docket. But yeah, let's go on to talking about a bunch of Gen Con stuff. So, apparently, according to Enworld, um, with Gen Con fast approaching, uh, Paizo, Paizo is ramping up their previews for Pathfinder Second Edition. Yeah, I skipped it again. I'm so sorry. um, uh, you've got a couple of cool things that they've put out, such as on Twitter. They showed a preview of the essentially the mascot of Pathfinder, the Goblin, with stat blocks for the Goblin Warrior and Goblin Commando. Um, what else? They've also released two versions of the second edition character sheet, which we'll check out in a bit. There's also a preview of the Game Mastery Guide second edition, which won't, but it won't be out until February. Um, it won't be out until February. Um, and there'll be a section of the core rulebook on about running the game and stuff, of course. And I'm just trying to parse through this report on Enrolled. Sorry, hang on. Okay, so the Paizo blog has a preview of that section of the Game Master's Guide with tables for GM advice, temperature effects, guide for difficulty DCs, and so on. So why don't we launch into it? Let's check out this goblin. So I've opened it here, and let me preface this by saying that my only real experience to Pathfinder is with Pathfinder Kingmaker on Steam. So I haven't ever touched the tabletop version. I am Everything I know about Pathfinder is out of a desire to not suck at the video game, which is a really good video game. I love the video game. I love Pathfinder Kingmaker. It's a very fun game and a very faithful recreation of like what it's like to play, a tabletop RPG. So it's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, why don't we check out what goblins are in Pathfinder and how they're presented in Pathfinder 2E, which is coming out, I guess. Uh, yeah, the entire Pathfinder Second Edition line will be available at GenCon, in stores and through mass market outlets such as Amazon on August 1st. We'll get into like what the entire line is at launch in a bit. Let's check out this goblin. Is chat still delayed? Yes, apparently it is. Wow, Tagoy. Like, at what point are you jumping in? How delayed? How delayed is it for you? Okay. So a goblin looks pretty standard. You've got like some cultural info on goblins. Small humanoids. Um, some goblins are civilized and have worked hard to be considered upstanding members of humanoid communities. Mm, but most are impetuous and vicious creatures who delight in wreaking havoc. Um, yeah. So you've got Goblin Treasure. Info says, info dump says, although Goblin Wardens are generally filthy dumps, they sometimes contain actual treasures stolen from Longshanks or other Goblin tribes. So typical treasures include small pieces of jewelry, shiny items such as hand mirrors, and gold teeth. As they rarely trust each other, many goblins keep their most cherished baubles on their persons. These might include useful weapons or minor magic items. A minute delay, wow. I wonder if that's to do with Restream. Like, I might, if I paid attention to the actual Twitch dashboard, I might see it, see your chats faster, and it might be Restream. Uh, you know, the delay might be on Restream's end as it does collate chats. As this the chat box on the left side of the screen does like collect chats from the all the different all the different like platforms we're multi-streaming to. So yeah, I'll try to check on the stream chat from time to time. So let's see if I can pop this out actually. Oh, there we go. Pop out the chat. At least for Twitch, like it's gonna be, yeah, I might see it as you send it. And so just go ahead. Let's continue with the goblin preview. Goblin locations. Goblins construct warrens in forests and coastal regions, usually near the settlements of other humanoids, for ease of scavenging and raging. Raiding, not raging. Hmm. Creature -1. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, so scavenging and okay, so Goblin Warrior. Let's see. Anyone care to tell me why they don't have statistics? Like attributes, rather? Is this a thing in Pathfinder, even in first edition? You don't see, like, their attributes don't matter? 8, 18, 10. Um, at what point did you hear me repeat that? So we can get an accurate measurement of how delayed chat is. So not quite a minute, I'm guessing. Only 10 to. Okay, yeah. So back to normal. Yeah, back to normal Twitch delay. Or rather, your word for it, latency. There we go. Last time was nearly 120. Holy crap! Wow. All right. Hopefully, it's it's all good now. Um, just FYI on my end on OBS, we're all green. No dropped frames. No downtime. My CPU is humming along at a nice, 22% load, 30 FPS. All good. Yeah. I like it. It's like a really nice condensed stat block, right? But I'm just curious, like if that is standard for Pathfinder, or if this is a new initiative in second edition. So yeah, you have their you know their overall, like I'm guessing the total skill modifier for important skills, relevant rather skills to the creature. Oh no, there it is. So yeah, just the modifier. I missed the modifier. I missed this line. Nice. Okay. Goblin Scuttle. I'm guessing it's a reaction, judging by the icon, and it has a trigger. Yeah, I didn't see the modifiers at all. I need glasses for my glasses. A goblin ally ends a move action adjacent to the warrior. And the effect is that the goblin warrior steps. I'm guessing that's a 5 foot step in Pathfinder. Okay. I'm guessing a dog slicer is a name for a type of dagger. That's that's like a pretty high attack roll for I'm guessing this is like the challenge rating, creature -1, for what should be a very easy creature to dispatch. That's a +8. Hmm, interesting. 1d6 slashing. Okay, short bow is +8 also. 1d10. Yikes. Oh, I'm guessing that's for crits. Deadly 1d10. Hey Don, welcome to the stream. Feel free to watch me fumble, my way around Pathfinder 2e stat block with my very limited Pathfinder 1e knowledge. um I'm guessing deadly is like a quality that increases critical damage. So your critical, like the additional die from a crit would be 1d10 instead of a 1d6. Okay. Um hmm. Yeah, I'm curious about like how high about why the attack bonus is so high. Like are they meant to be a um a nuisance, but a very accurate nuisance? A goblin commando. So these are the leaders of goblin raids, and they just tend to they don't lead as much as wade into the fray and kill steal from their tribe mates. Okay, cool. So this is a more formidable creature. As you can see, it's instead of creature -1, it's creature 1. It has better stats all around. So stronger than your average goblin, uh, more clever. Oh no, less clever than your average goblin, but also with higher wisdom. Okay. Um, it's got a horse chopper, which I guess would be a. Okay, so these are goblin names for daggers. They have dog slicer and horse chopper. Got it. If we Naruto run, we can dodge the goblin swords. If I was only if I was down to my last HP and it was super mission critical, would I consider that? Okay. All right, interesting. Honestly, with my I'm enjoying Pathfinder Kingmaker, so I wonder if I would enjoy actual like tabletop Pathfinder. I'm very curious. Like if anyone out there is running Pathfinder in Manila, I hope I could, give this a shot. Anyway, let's check out what else. So they have an character sheet too. They came out with this. So this is the generic one. So it's not like themed to any particular class. But yeah, looks pretty. Like the way I know Pathfinder is that it's it took off from it branched off from 3.5 and basically made their own setting, their own and altered the rules a bit to and just basically from my perspective like fixed or optimized the feat system in D&D 3 that they came out with in D&D 3rd edition. So yeah, I'd be curious about like and this sheet, still looks pretty spot on for based on um like what I do know of Pathfinder. Pretty cool. CJ runs Pathfinder Society locally. They're pretty frequent with game calls and events. Ooh, interesting. So would this be? I'm guessing this doesn't show up much on PTRPG, or would I need to join like the local Pathfinder Society group on Facebook? Let's see. Let's check what Eric's saying in chat. CJ is sometimes on PTRPG, but the calls and events are on their own Facebook page. Okay, so I'll check them out. I'll make sure to check them out. By the way, today I'm trying something different with the links. Um, just so it's easy to find, and because of how Restream Chat handles sending links, which is essentially, it's a board wipe for our chat screen. What I'm gonna do is at the end of the streams, I'm gonna post the links there right before we hit end credits, so they're easy to find. Um, they are easy to find, and yeah, um, they're all in one place. Uh, Honestly, I'm putting them at the end credits because I forgot to put them right after start credits. Or rather, our opening credit sequence credits. Why am I saying credits? Intro and outro. Yeah, after opening intro sequence, I forgot to actually put them there. So we'll do it at the outro. And if you're watching the video on replay, um, you can find them there. But yeah, also next time I'll post them on intro so that those of you who are in chat and watching and wanna contribute to the conversation can more easily do so. You can click the links in advance. Read up on something that's particularly interesting to you. And yeah, um, yes, this is a character sheet, Santagoy. It's it's a hefty one. I'll give it that. So, whoa, wow. Yeah, when I mentioned that my perception of Pathfinders, them like essentially tricking the crap out of the feat system in third ed, I didn't expect this. So you have ancestry feats and abilities, and like the different types of feats, the different ways you get them, and also like at what levels you're gonna get them. I'm guessing it's the same for all classes across all classes, and yeah, wow. You're never gonna need to ask again. Like what level? At what level? You get to pick a feat. Well, there you go. Oh, interesting. So this is to keep the company afloat, essentially. That's what people are saying this is. Or those are the rumors around this edition of Pathfinder. Interesting. Well, I guess like if you're a fan of Pathfinder, like you'd want to support then, I guess, right? Like to keep the game um to keep yeah, Paizo, and like if Pathfinder's like your favorite game, right? Like you'd want to presumably you'd want to support. Interesting. Rumors thus far. All right. Wow. Really, like like I'm guessing, yeah, with the way you also have to keep in mind that a lot of the original Pathfinder advocates are people who felt Fourth Ed D&D was a cash grab. That is true. It's a vicious cycle for them. Everything's a cash grab. I see your point. That's a good point, Eric. It just it just it just could be the way they think that their brains are wired, right? To think about tabletop games and new editions. This is a beefy character sheet, I gotta say, because wow, you have like stuff for encumbrance. Never mind that. You have a third page that is full of boxes for your character sketch, campaign notes, your action types. I don't even know what the activities are in Pathfinder, and your free actions and reactions. Wow, this is a full sheet. And then for spells, you have spell names. What's this? What are these tiny letters? Prep. Oh, like if the spell is prepped or not. Okay. And yeah, what kind of actions they cost? Ooh, former employee exposés about the situation at Paizo. Interesting. Are they like on Twitter and stuff? Are they revealing, the dirt on Twitter? All right, well, we're going over that. Here is the preview of the Game Master section. So, one of the tools the new edition provides, uh, the GM, equips them to tell awesome stories full of interesting foes and hazards, um, and providing play, allowing for GMs to provide players with, uh, you know, their chance to shine. Um, you've got stuff like game mastering advice. Okay, so here's one example. If you don't know how long a quick task takes, go with one action or two actions if the character shouldn't be able to perform it three times per round. Interesting. Okay. If you're not sure what action a task uses, look at the most similar basic action. If you don't find one, make up an action adding any necessary traits. All right. When two sides are opposed, let's zoom in. Have one roll against the other's DC. Don't have both sides roll. And initiative is the exception to this rule. The character who rolls is usually the one acting. So the active, yeah. So interesting. So they are essentially streamlining, or I don't know. Just yeah, not going for post checks. It's always like an action and then either a TN or a save, or no, just really a TN or a DC. Cool. If you are making up an effect, creatures should be incapacitated or killed only on a critical success, or for a saving throw on a critical failure. That's good advice. Hmm. When a character accomplishes something noteworthy that doesn't have rules for XP, award them XP for an accomplishment, which is 10 to 30 XP, as described on, on one of the pages. And when PCs fail at a task, look for a way they might fail forward, meaning the story moves forward with a negative consequence rather than the failure halting progress entirely. I love failing forward. It's like it's one of those things that you eventually learn when you're a GM or a DM. It's really handy. Cause and not just handy. It's it makes stories better. I honestly um I I honestly would sometimes fudge rolls to like especially at the start of a session to kind of um manipulate things so the PCs fail forward because I feel like it just makes for a better story most of the time. Um you know, it's it's it it's like I know like fudging rolls uh depending on your style of GMing, you might say, use it rarely, use it often, or not at all. I tend to use it often at the start. I'm very liberal with fudging rolls to make players fail forward at the start of games because I feel that's like I feel like it gives a story momentum, right? It makes the players kind of you know like invest more into the game if only because they want to get that shiny thing back or um you know finally like beat that dude who bested them earlier in the session, things like that. So yeah, hey Xmars, hey Mari, welcome to the stream. Thank you for tuning in and saying hi in chat. Welcome back to another table talk Monday evening stream. Lichcast's failing forward is an important philosophy to put in the GM's kit. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Would you say that what I just said, what I just shared with you guys, is that a bit much? Let me know. Like, I'm honestly curious what people think about that because I don't think I've ever really admitted that before. So basically, in a nutshell, what I said is that to get to give um the session and the story in our session some momentum, I tend to fudge rolls at the start to make the PCs fail forward. And towards the end, I will probably, if not be more forgiving with the dice, I will probably let the dice, fall as they are. But yeah, I think for most GMs, when they admit to fudging rolls, it's to kind of admit to um, to being more forgiving for the players. What I'm admitting to is a bit of the opposite. What I'm admitting to is making players fail forward at the start of um a session. Like okay, so I think it's a bit unclear. So like yes, I will fudge rolls to benefit the players if, you know, if a bad guy succeeds um too often, or too too what in too big of a way, that would essentially grind the session to a halt or force me to like wildly improvise what happens next. Yes, but I'm also talking about like when PCs um succeed too much, I will also kind of fudge for the benefit of the NPCs, so that they kind of don't, you know, um completely like stomp the bad guys just yet. So they will like, you know, fail forward somewhat. But yeah. So hey Artificity, thank you for tuning in. It depends on how you want to view the gaming session, to be honest. I want the game he shares, I want the game to be like a good TV show, and as the GM slash head writer, you're in charge of maintaining the right level of tension for the TV show to be interesting. Yes, that's I think yeah, like we're aligned in what we're saying. Because yeah, like if the PCs have, you know, if the players are like just essentially like if they roll all 20s, you know, throughout the gaming session, that's not fun either, right? If they succeed at every roll they make in a gaming session, that isn't fun. There's no tension. There's no I know there's the risk of failure, but uh essentially, but yeah, like if everything's coming up roses for the PCs like that, I think that's not as exciting a session as it could be. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I tend to make players feel forward at the start of sessions. Anyway, let's go on with the rest of the GMing section preview for Pathfinder 2E. You have here temperature effects. Ooh, okay. DCs by level, handy. That's something I would love to have on like a on my D&D screen. I'm always kind of struggling for what DCs to throw at my players for any game actually. Um, simple DCs, DCs by level, DC adjustments. Okay, a table of typical skills to identify monsters. Oh, that is cool. So like if depending on the creature type, this is a skill that you need to identify them, or I guess like get more info on them, like to find out a weakness. So for example, if you wanted to identify a fey creature, it would be a nature roll, as opposed to identifying a even something like a dragon. I mean, being magical creatures, in this case, they're saying that it calls for an arcana roll more often than not. Cool. I like that. I kind of like that. So like not everything is lore nature or, you know, lore what animal handling. On the one hand, the dumb minutia, minutia, yeah, of 3.5 and Pathfinder is nice for artificity. On the other hand, it's still minutia. Yeah, cool. Yeah, gremlin. These are archons. Okay, nice. All right. Yeah, I like the I honestly like I don't know too much enough about Pathfinder to comment on these other things, but I already like this one. Creature identification, DCs by level, you know, stuff like that, and GMing tips. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, they're coming out with the full lineup of Pathfinder products for the second edition, which will be available at GenCon and in stores such as Amazon, um, in stores and mass market outlets such as Amazon on August 1st. So the launch line is pretty hefty. So you have the Pathfinder Core Rulebook, which will sell for 59.99. These are all in US dollars, by the way. You will have the limited edition if you want, if you're so inclined to go for that for 79.99. Um, Pathfinder Bestiary, which is at 49.99. Uh, and the limited edition for that is 69.99. The GM screen will sell for 19.99. The standalone adventure for first level is called The Fall of Plaguestone, which will sell for 22.99. There will be wet and dry erase flip mats. These will be for 14.99. There's an adventure path called Age of Ashes Adventure Path number 1 Hell Knight Hill, which will be for 24.99. The Lost Omens World Guide for 36.99, and condition cards like accessories, which are handy accessories rather. These are available at gonna be available for 22.99, and there'll be a character sheet pack for 14.99. Let's have a. I wonder if these are all Amazon links. Let me put this up on. Let's see if I can show you guys like what these look like. Okay, so the images on Amazon aren't so great. Yeah, these are still pretty early. Okay, well anyway, yeah, August 1st, these will be available um on Amazon, presumably in stores. Like, given that we live in the Philippines, I guess for our local listeners and viewers, what is it, like a month, right? Like we get things a month after, more or less. Hmm. Let's see. All right. Yeah. Let me know. What things we get a month after? Like a month after release in stores in the states. Usually, that's when we get them here in our local stores. Do I have that right? Like a couple of weeks to a month after. That's when you get them in physical in like physical retail here. Really, fully booked the week of? Okay, yeah, I guess like for D&D and stuff. I wonder if fully booked will be stocking Pathfinder. I kind of doubt it. And for most products, you never get here unless you have dedicated importers. Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, on that note, let's check out. Like let's check out what else is gonna be available at Gen Con, RPG wise. Amazon. Yeah, and if you have like if you do the whole like shipping box thing, yeah, you could presumably get these things a lot quicker locally by ordering through Amazon, shipping it to like your shipping address in the states, and then they bring it over here. Yeah, let's check out the next one, which is some news about Shadowrun at Gen Con. So, um, Catalyst Game Labs announced their release line for the sixth edition. Um, Front and center, of course, is the sixth edition uh, core book with the core rules for the new edition of Shadowrun. Additionally, they will have physical copies of the beginner box and a set of custom Shadowrun dice and edge tokens. The NPC card deck, which is the called the Rogues Gallery. Shadowrun Prime Runners miniatures, which will have, like an orc street samurai, an elf shaman, human decker, a dwarf rigger, and a troll weapon specialist. There will be the World Sourcebook, Neo Anarchist, Streetpedia, which is a wiki influenced sourcebook. Interesting. Featuring small entries on corps, countries, criminal organizations, power players, events, locations, and more. The gorgeous media and culture sourcebook, No Future, and a limited edition um, set of statues of the Orc Street Samurai Sledge. So all of these will be available in stores shortly after GenCon, except for the beginner box and Neo Anarchist, the World Source Book, which are already available. In chat, Artificity, Pathfinder, and Shadowrun are what I'm stoked for when it comes to the bigger RPGs that I'll never be able to pull a group together for anyway. Oh, don't give up. You can always try posting in Philippine tabletop RPGs, I guess, and seeing if anyone is up for a game. Um, has Catalyst Game Labs even paid their 5e contributors yet? I kind of remember about like something about that. Um, don't think so, and it's been like 8 years. Damn. Yeah, the video games are quite excellent too. I have only the first one. What's it called again? Hang on. Um, Shadowrun. Not Dragonfall. Shadowrun Returns. Yes, that one I have on Steam. Haven't finished it. I really should. Try posting to see if you can find anyone willing to do their PhD in mathematics for a Shadowrun group. You never know. You never know who's up for the challenge. Hang on. Dragonfall is amazing. Recommending it for me ASAP. Okay. I'll check it out. Just gotta wait for some funds to free up. I've heard good things about Dragonfall too. Um, yeah. Let me look at it real quick on Steam. There's even a director's cut now. Interesting. Yeah, I'll check this out. Thank you for the recommendation. Hong Kong is my favorite just for the random lumpia lore. Really. Yeah. That's about it for Shadowrun news. Let's just scroll through this article real quick. So yeah, this is the Shadowrun beginner box. This one is the dice and edge tokens. According to reports, edge tokens will be super useful because it's now a core mechanic of the game, whatever that means. You have here the Rogues Gallery, which is an NPC deck. Um, these are the Prime Runner miniatures. So there you have the. Gosh, I can't tell right now, but yeah, those five figures, which include the Orc Street Samurai, um, elf shaman, human decker, dwarf rigger, and troll weapon specialist. I'm sorry, like I'm a noob when it comes to Shadowrun. This is the Neo Anarchist Streetpedia, which is the source book. This is No Future, which is which one is this again? This is the Media and Culture source book for Shadowrun. Okay, Edge equals void points in L5R. Thank you so much. Say no more. I got it. And these are the collectible sledge statues. Let's show this video. It's muted anyway. There you go. Looks pretty sweet. What's this made of? What is this made of? Is it diecast? Yeah. Looks looks very Drax like. Alright. Rachel is asking how the Cyberpunk stretch goal is doing. For the Tailspire? That is a good question. Let's open that up. Kickstarter Tailspire. Um Oh, you think yeah, you're probably right. Like this is probably just the yeah, CG, right? Not the actual product. Although, like I guess I don't know, like is this a painted does this look real to you guys? I have no idea. But yeah, presumably that's what the orc figure could look like, if not what it does look like already. Let's check on Tailspire's Kickstarter. Yeah. Where are we at? We are at 205 US dollars. Oh, no way. Okay, just 20k more. 20k more with 9 days to go. I think that's doable. Oh no. No, 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 no. Okay, so I think the 20k more until the customizable rule system, but the cyberpunk stuff is a long way away. 70,000 more dollars to reach the cyberpunk themed assets. Man, hopefully they'll release these as like a yeah, like a small, like DLC. Really? You think 70k will is doable? And like it says there's 9 days to go. Like you think they'll be able to hit that? Because the cyberpunk stuff looks gorgeous. Honestly, like yeah, I would be down for some Tailspire powered Shadowrun action. You think they'll pull that in the last 2 to 3 days? Right. Right. Yeah, like if they go all out with like the marketing and word of mouth, well, hopefully we can yeah, hopefully they hopefully they pull it off. I'd love to have these. Have any of you like no shame if you haven't. I'm just curious. Like have any of you are regular Dicecast viewers? Like have you guys or even the lurkers, like have any of you ever or not ever, have any of you jumped on the Tailspire Kickstarter? I'm just curious. Like I want to know like if I can potentially play with anyone else on Tailspire. This feels like a setup. What do you mean? About the Kickstarter. Okay. Um, Lichcast. Still thinking about it. Looks fun to play with. It is fun. Like I don't know if you've seen our streams where we're playing Tailspire, but yeah, it's super fun. Artificity has the alpha, but hasn't sent anything to KS. You know, like honestly, the alpha is already kind of for something we got for free. It's pretty. I feel like you could run a full campaign just on the alpha if I had to. I mean, tile sets are limited, but right, like you could like, you could just always be in sewers or dungeons. I can't wait to see like the more natural underground, like cave or cavern tile sets that they have coming out for the early access one. Mm, right, right. Like yeah, there's a lot of quality of life and uh UX and UI improvements I've heard that they're putting into the early access, into the beta. A lot of it's sourced from the feedback in the alpha, so yeah, there's that to look forward to. If you've backed the Kickstarter. So okay, let's get on to our last couple of GenCon announcements. So we have um Wrath and Glory reaching from Cubicle 7, who have announced that the Warhammer 40K role playing game is getting a new revised edition soon. So this is not a like a fully new edition, and the version published by uh, Ulysses Spiel will be fully compatible with this revised rulebook, including all dice and card decks from the two published adventures. So Blessings Unheralded and Dark Tides. What Cubicle 7 is doing is that they've put up the full product line on their drive-through page, which you can check out. Um, Also, the original product line is also available. Um, but it's not sure whether they will be updated when the revised edition is published. So it's also not known if the original design team of Wrath and Glory will be returning for the revised edition. But there you have it. So these are some. Is this going to be available at Gen Con? I'm trying to check. Let's see. Via Cubicle 7. I guess it's mostly just digital. Yeah. So, yeah, these are on Drive through RPG for the most part. So, the Wrath and Glory starter set um, contains a complete adventure that teaches you how to run and play while you're having fun. A beginner's rulebook with everything you need to embark on adventures in the Dark Imperium, six 4-page character folios, and two double sided battle maps. So, yeah. I wonder if this will be available at Gen Con. Interesting. I can't find it, but I guess it's just an announcement to expect these things soon. Uh, so yeah, you can check out. You can follow them on Drive Through RPG, I guess, for more up to date information. So yeah, that's Cubicle 7. All right, and finally we have um some more cyberpunk news. Um, Cyberpunk Red is coming out with a jumpstart kick. and revealing the cover art for it. So this will be available at yeah at GenCon from Artaslorian Games. So the suggested retail price is $29.99, and yeah, it will debut at GenCon. Uh, Visitor like people going there though will be limited to 2 boxes per customer. All right. So if for somehow you're watching this and you're going to Gen Con, you can make your way to booth 1852. So yeah, limited numbers only, and limited to 2 boxes per customer. So the physical, if you buy it at Gen Con, you'll also get a coupon to pick up the digital version from Drive Through RPG for $8. After that, the digital will cost 15, and you will be able to download it via drive-through from August 1st. The physical Cyberpunk Red Jumpstart Kit will be available on Testorian Games' web store and retailers after Gen Con. Geek Native, the people who published this article, um, by Andrew Girdwood, says that it will happen as soon as possible after the event, but there's no fixed date. The Jumpstart Kit, notably, is not the full core rulebook. So, like many beginner boxes or Jumpstart kits or quick starts, these usually contain a condensed version of the game rules. Essentially, everything you need to get started, and with pre-generated characters. So usually, what they omit are most of the GMing section, like campaign, like planning for campaigns, building the world and stuff, your own version of the world and stuff, and character creation. So yeah, just set your expectations if you are getting this. Um, so yeah, the jumpstart kit is not the full core rulebook. That is coming later, with no release date confirmed as of yet. But yeah, this box should be enough to get you started. What's inside of it? You get one booklet with all of the essential rules needed to play right out of the box. Another booklet full of world lore and adventures to run. 6 customizable characters. A set of cyberpunk themed dice with 2d10s and 4d6s. Maps and standees to help bring the world of cyberpunk to life. So these 2 booklets will be perfect bound, not stapled, and are full color with the new art. The dice and cyberpunk themed are cyberpunk themed and made by Q Workshop. So you see here the front of the box, and here's the back. Pretty sweet. So, what is Cyberpunk Red? For those of you more familiar with stuff like Shadowrun and haven't heard of this other IP yet, so Cyberpunk Red is the new edition of the original tabletop RPG from Mike Pondsmith and published by Artasaurian Games. It will use an updated version of the Interlock game system. It's very closely related to CD Projekt Red's forthcoming Cyberpunk 2077. Artasaurian Games is working closely with the computer game developer, and the two games share a timeline. So it's a bit like what Wizards is doing with Descent into Avernus um and Baldur's Gate 3, right? With Larian Games. So, yeah, interesting. We live in interesting times, honestly. Like when it comes to this hobby and, related hobby of video games. It's a pretty good time to be alive. So, the exact date of when Cyberpunk Red takes place has not yet been revealed, but we know it takes place between the end of the Fourth Corporate War in 2022 and up to 2077. So the Jumpstart Kit might reveal when precisely the new tabletop role playing game begins. So you have here A preview of the dice. This is the D10. That's a D6. Um, I'm guessing the 0 and the 6. These represent the 0 and the 6. I don't know. So yeah, there you go. Um, I think I think that's it for our Gen Con reporting, right? So I think we're at a good number of viewers to launch into an article that I seem to keep putting off unintentionally or intentionally, which is the rise of the professional DM. This came out almost a month ago, July 8th on Bloomberg Business Week. So if you haven't read this yet, it's kind of interesting. It's not quite an in-depth take on what it means to be a paid dungeon master or game master, but yeah, it just kind of shows like how uh we are at, I think, an all-time high when it comes to interest in the hobby. Let's check it out. So in case you want to read along, because it's quite a lengthy article, I am breaking the rule I set at the middle of the stream. I'll post the link for everyone to check out right here. Did that go out? Did the links post? I hope so. If not, let me know. I'm gonna post it again. I'll post them again. But yeah, let's get into it. Um, so the article pretty much centers around uh, or features this guy, this GM named Devon Chulik, among other personalities in the tabletop industry, which we'll get to in a bit. But basically, yeah, um, this guy is a professional DM. He, I think, he works around Hollywood, if I'm not mistaken, or in in that area in Los Angeles, and yeah, he's a professional DM, and he pulls in um I guess on average around $500. So yeah, let's get to the interesting bits. So Chulik works as a dungeon master for hire, catering primarily to those entering the world of D&D for the first time and seeking instruction. So uh, essentially taking their first steps into D&D and presumably role playing in tabletop role playing in general. So yeah, until a few years ago, the idea of engaging a or of being a professional dungeon master seems absurd. But these days, like, you have things, you have the internet, you have a robust gig economy all over the world. So yeah, um, it's mostly thanks to the um, D&D kind of entering pop culture mainstream, thanks to things like the Netflix show Stranger Things. Um, I didn't know D&D was in Riverdale, but yeah. And of course, related are the fantasy and book series like Game of Thrones. So one of the, yeah, famously, like, DB Weiss, one of the show's creators, says that he's played D&D compulsively for years. Um, so yeah, the consequence, it's kind of the perfect storm. Professional DMing has become a business for some, even a career, according to the article. So Chulik, for example, you can be hired to lead an individual beginner campaign, which will cost $300 and last up to 4 hours. I think that's his baseline price. For 500 bucks, he'll come to your office and run a D&D team building activity. He'll rent he rents a full studio setup to stream the games he runs weekly on Twitch, where he has 150 subscribers who each pay uh, pretty much $5 a month, and also an email list of around 4,000 people and 4 sponsors who provide detailed custom game pieces, beer, or maps in exchange for on-air endorsements. For a negotiated fee, he'll drop custom battle maps. I guess this is the added service, right? Consult on purchases of various game accessories, and host bachelor parties, family gatherings, or kids' birthdays. At present, he's booked several months already and has, I guess, a pretty hefty wait list. So, what are these numbers in pesos? So let's see. 300 bucks. 300 USD. Wow, that's 15,000 pesos for like a standard 4-hour game, beginner campaign. 500 is, yeah, 25,000 bucks for an office team building activity. Prices that won't fly here, I guess. Like if you were to DM for the game masters and dungeon masters in our viewership who are watching right now, if you were to charge for DMing, I know that not everyone is comfortable with charging for it, but if you were to, like, what would you like? What price would you start at? Because I think, yeah, like for this guy, I guess in the U.S. and for the city he works in, yeah, 300 I can imagine is not so much. But for here, what would you go with? Where would you start? I'll continue with the article for a bit while you guys reply. Yeah, Artificy, I know that this is particularly relevant to you, given what you've been doing recently and the questions you've been asking over on the Dicecast Discord. So, yeah, I guess this is a good chance for everyone to kind of weigh in. So, hopefully, we got something, some good, some good input from everyone here. Um, okay, so you say start at your actual hourly working rate at your day job. Interesting. Okay. Xiaohan in Singapore has lived on DMing professionally, and his clients were scolding him for being too cheap. Would you mind sharing, like what your friend charges for, like a standard 4-hour session in Singapore? If you do mind, that's fine too. Like I won't, I'm not gonna be pushy. Yeah, like what? Yeah, approximate. Like what do you know? So yeah, while we're waiting on that, being a professional DM is in many ways the perfect side hustle, because the latest of the edition of D&D gives DMs and players a fair amount of freedom to stretch creative muscles in designing a quest, um, or playing their characters. And the better storyteller a DM is, the better the overall experience for the players. Chulik Chulik says, I think there's a therapeutic part to it. Escapism is great. This is easy to access, a bit more immersive. Okay. Maybe, so yeah, but the disclaimer that these numbers are likely very wrong. The Lichcast guesses, like for DMing professionally in Singapore, um, his friend charges around $20 per person per time unit. I'm guessing that's like per 4 hours, right? Uh, or something. But he has package deals for groups. 20 US dollars. How much is that? So around 1,000 pesos. Yeah, okay. Like, I think given Singapore, yeah, that sounds kind of reasonable. And I can understand why his clients would say, like, he's charging too low. Interesting. Tagoy says these kinds of articles usually tend to flare up the prices for pizzazz and clicks. I don't know, man. I'm kind of thinking of it. I'm kind of thinking of it from the perspective of someone who lives in LA. And if the group rate is $300 for one session, right, for a standard 4 hour session, and if there's like what, five of you in the party, that's like $60 for 4 hours. I don't think that's too bad. Like if even if if these prices weren't inflated for Flair, I don't think like people would, you know, um, again, it depends on, I guess, the demographics he's targeting, but I don't think like the people, if it says at the start of the article that yeah, he's uh one of an example of a client of his are Google employees. I don't think they would, yeah, I don't think it's too much for them to spend $60 each, like on 4 hours. Or even like if it's a trio of them and he's charging them what, at 300, 100, so 100 per person. I don't know. That seems doable for that market. Maybe, I don't know. I'm guessing. Yeah, yeah. It's a bit tricky to price it, right? Like, I think you would price it more in line with what, or you charge for it more in line with like if you were facilitating a workshop instead of the price of a movie. I think that's like one way of looking at it because it's active and there's a lot more prep. Different rates for whether he is fed or not. That's the reality of it, man. Like, yeah, that is important because I think the common courtesy for DMs, right? Like for normal games, for non-paid games, is that DM doesn't pay, right? Like the game master, the dungeon master doesn't pay because he's already like put in the time before the session. It might be that he charges 80 per person for 4 hours, but also probably wildly wrong. So somewhere between those two numbers. Yeah. I mean, okay, so what's 80 per person? What's $80? 4,000? Yeah. Singapore, I think that's perfectly. I think, yeah, for a working professional in Singapore, that doesn't seem too bad. It's like if you do it once a month, right? I know it seems steep per person, but honestly, like, yeah, it's wonderful money. Yeah, I agree. But like considering other hobbies, like what with an equivalent, time um time requirement, what, like airsoft is gonna set you back a lot. I think a lot more. than tabletop than 60 to 80 bucks per session for a tabletop game. Airsoft, paintball, um, just guessing. Let's see. But yeah, group rates are likely lower because it's the one story. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking of pricing it. It's one of those hobbies where going DIY will not hurt you. Unlike if you went DIY with, you know, like what, biking or uh yeah, airsoft. If you went DIY with that, there's a good chance of you hurting yourself. But yeah, with like games, tabletop, not so much. And yes, like tabletop RPGs like do pay for themselves. Seriously. Board games are definitely not um yeah, not cheap, but yeah, tabletop RPGs very much so. Okay, let's get back to the article. Let's see what else they have to say. Um all right, so here is the a bit of the backlash side of it, right? Um Most of the game's impassioned fans seem to be thrilled with its recent wide appeal, but some purists bristle that professional DMing creates a tangle of ethical quandaries. So to go over what the article says, um, Sven Anderson, a DM from Sweden, says that there are different kinds of people who play D&D, and some can be very difficult to deal with if they're not your friends. This guy has been running games since the 1980s, never in a professional capacity. So, um, the game is inherently cooperative, but unruly players have been known to try to dominate or even sabotage the campaigns. So this is like, you know, anything from your classic dominant like ego at the table to even the non-dominant ones like the rogue who like the guy who plays thieves or rogues and just wants to steal from other players' equipment and just be naughty and all that. So it can be part of the DM's responsibility to bring them to heel. But like the question is, like, what do you do if you have a player who is a bully or a player that's doing something distasteful in the game, and he's also your client? Do you just like how do you deal with that? Do you boot them from the game? Anderson asks, and he doesn't know. So Artificity seems to have a you know that is a quick answer. So yeah, if one player he shares that if one player in the group is of five is being a dick, regardless of them paying, they aren't considering the group as a whole. So refund the one guy being a dick and continue with the rest. You have no personal connection with them and have no obligation other than your financial contract. So for you, it's like quite. It seems to be quite straightforward. Yeah, and I do see your point. So Lichcast agrees. If you're concerned about your paying customers, then the other four at that example table outnumber the one dickish player. Yeah, and it's not like there aren't any there aren't any tools to kind of avoid this situation, right? I think um a session zero like is a great like I don't know if you'd provide the session zero for free or like you'd start charging at a session zero, but I think it's a great tool like as a if you are a professional DM or GM, like session zeros avoid this exact situation because everyone presumably is on board or will be on board after after session 0. Um, yeah, and when you do boot someone out for violating your table rules or going against too far against the grain of play, the play style, the story that everyone agreed to to put together, um, then yeah, right. It just gives you that much more authority and that much more um just basically it makes sense when you do have to boot someone out. It it's yeah, because they're going against what is agreed upon. And yeah, protecting booting out the dickish guy, the misbehaving player, or rather, you know, maybe yeah, that does dealing with situations like that. It makes yourself known as the guy who protects the enjoyment of the table from dicks, and people will pay you for that more guaranteed space. I agree. I agree. Part of it, like you've been talking about roles, like Artificity mentioned play as therapy. Um, uh, what else? Educational goals, right? But part of the DM's job is also as curator. Oftentimes, like you have to curate, that like what you're offering, and the game that you're running. Um, you can always de-escalate something and bring things to order, but when you can make it clear that it's not going to work, then end it. You're in a group that everyone consented to doing something everyone wanted to do. Break that consent and, well, suck it up, edgelord. Yeah, well put, well put. Um, so Wizard of the Coasts generally came out with a very accessible product in D&D 5e, which streamlined the game's notoriously epic rulebook and eased some technical requirements, which helped usher in like this influx of new enthusiasts. Um, but yeah, you can't deny things like you know um, the aforementioned TV series, I guess Riverdale and Stranger Things. Also, the growth of just video games. Like video games are more popular than ever, and that means that a lot of video games do draw inspiration from RPGs. So now, when you talk about a role playing game, like people are more or less they know what you're talking about, even if it's a tabletop one. Looks at Mike Merles regarding edge lords. Really? um. Yeah. So this article also mentions to meet the rising D&D demand, some professional DMs now train other professionals too. Like Rory Filstrom is a pastor with the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and he is a self-described semi-professional DM. Um, so he usually hosts like a 4-day retreat called Pastors and Dragons, at which participants learn how to use D&D as a tool to explore Christian teachings and enhance the work of your ministry. Uh, he also runs an 8-session campaign for his confirmation class, and the church hosts a game night twice a month. I would probably that is pretty cool. If um, the local parish did this when I was in my younger, you know, um, in my younger years, like when I was in elementary and high school, I probably would have stayed Catholic. But yeah, Philstrom credits the game with helping him build collegial relationships and navigate the realities of ministry since being ordained in 2012. When you're at the table, people are putting themselves out there. They take the contents of their imaginations and translate it into story. Um, his fantastical style is particularly gutsy considering that D&D was once the focus of a moral panic among far right Christian groups. In the 1980s, particularly, there were scores of accusations that the game endorsed witchcraft and satanic worship. Opponents tied it to murders and suicides, claims that have long since been debunked. So the the also online you have now these new platforms, right? Like Roll20, but also uh, like actual play videos, like Critical Role, Force Grey, um, Acquisition Sync. Basically, D&D is everywhere, and people have even started to offer their services as paid DMs online. So you have Bethany Dillingham from Goldsboro, I think NC is North Carolina. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she served in the U.S. Navy and started her uh, she started her gender transition after leaving the Navy. This made her unemployable, and she started to look online for ways to connect with people. And so she started to offer her services as a paid DM online. So yeah, Dillingham runs 8 games a week, each one running about 4 hours, and at a very different price point from what we mentioned earlier. So she does this at $15 a player, which is around 750 pesos. I think this is like a price point a lot more doable here. Um, Definitely. So her typical workday starts with game prep a couple of hours ahead of her first campaign with European or Australian fans, usually around 10 a.m., and lasts well into the evening with American players. So she doesn't have real days off because, yeah, it's round the clock. Like 8 games a week, that's like on some days she'll double up. She's begun to parlay her skills from D&D into work as a production and talent manager for theater nerds who want to build theatrical experiences around D&D and other role-playing games. Um, at the higher end of the professional price spectrum is John Clark in LA. He is a studio department head for Paramount and a DM to the stars as well by night. So he started out moderating the LA D&D meetup group, one of the largest groups in in the US, um, where he noticed a demand for a higher level of DMing, so more personalized, more immersive, greater variety of performance techniques, and more detailed plot development. And that's when he realized that his professional acting skills from before he was a producer or an executive, that he could use those as an asset. So you can't just work for Cheetos anymore. He says you have to be more. You have to have more value than that. If you don't have the ability to do 10 different accents, be the life of the party, it's going to show up with the fun factor, and it needs to be super. I'm going to show up with the fun factor. He says, and it needs to be super super high. So I think this is more in line with what you see with stream games, right? With a budget like Critical Role. So you have these professional voice actors for the most part, either being the DM or being the players. And yeah, you see backlash to that too because um it what critics say is that it's an unrealistic portrayal of like what actually happens at the table, right? Like not all of us are professional actors. In fact, a lot of us, me included, have trouble like just sticking to one accent with your own player, with your own player character. So, um, a lot more often, you have like it's not so much people larping at the table. It's people like as that there's like this meme going around where it's more of people yelling at a piece of plastic, the die for coming up with the wrong number. And yeah, Deborah Ann Wall is a great example. What's her name of her show? Like Relics and what is it? Relics and Rarities, I think is the name of her D&D show. Yeah, Relics and Rarities. Oh, I'm not talking about just streaming. I'm talking about like your 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 table at home, like your average table, not just for streaming, but um uh th- what people say about stuff uh yeah, Critical Role, Acquisitions Inc., Relics and Rarities is that yeah, just the fact that it kind of promotes this image of uh or this idea of playing D&D that won't apply to like 95% of gaming tables. And yeah, sure, you can aim to kind of get better at it. But yeah. Yeah, like if you communicate expectations, like, you don't need to to act out your character so much like in Critical Role. That's fine. But yeah, what a lot of people it it's shifting what critics of like things like Critical Role say is that it's kind of shifting the default image of what it is to play D&D to that. And what they say is that it's not realistic or healthy. Uh, the healthy is debatable, but yeah, realistic. I think that is. I tend to agree with the fact that it's a bit unrealistic to expect the level of prep, the level of role play that you see in games like Critical Role, and the level, just yeah, the level of production. Um. Anyway, primal level on this topic. Reddit. An image from Reddit. Let's see what that is. Where did that window open? I'm gonna have to copy that link. There we go. DM. Okay, I'm gonna put this on the stream so you see what we're talking about. DM describing anything. Why isn't my DM like Matt Mercer? Yeah, essentially that is well, for the DM side of things, that is fairly what um concerned parties are saying when it comes to things like Critical Role. Which is what this guy's advocating. This guy, John Clark, who DMs in Los Angeles, he's saying, uh, yeah, he's saying that you have to add, you know, like when you are a professional DM, like essentially he's saying that what you have to aim for is to be a Matt Mercer, right? So you need to have the ability to do 10 different accents, a number of accents, to be the life of the party, to essentially uh yeah, to ramp it up further than like what was than what you'd see in a normal, homebrew guys playing at home or in their or in their gaming room, um or living rooms, in that setting, right? So that's the other end of the spectrum. So in addition to catering to celebrity clientele, which he declines to name, Clark offers hour-long private sessions at $100 US a pop. For an additional charge, he hosts campaigns in the Houdini Room at the Magic Castle, the storied private club in Hollywood Heights. So yeah, um, let's see. So what follows in the article is essentially a slice of life, just a slice of life narration of like what an everyday session is for Chulik. So you can read the rest of it in the article. I linked it, I think, above. I'm gonna link it again because I don't think it went through. So wow, what's wrong here? I'm gonna put it in Discord, our Discord, so you can check it out there. It's in the Table Talk Mondays channel. But yeah, we're pretty much done with the article. But yeah, so I guess like I don't know, like the things I wanted to ask. We're already over time a bit. Like I was supposed to end at 9:30. I guess we can aim for 10 o'clock. Um, but yeah, like the things that I've like, I'll be honest. I've been thinking of doing the professional DM thing for at least a couple of years now. Like as a side gig, exactly what this article says. Like some people do it as a side gig, others make a career out of it. I'm on the side gig end of the spectrum, and honestly, I've always the thing that stopped me is that I do want to bring like an elevated experience. I want people to get something more out of it than what they would normally get for an unpaid, game run by like a buddy of theirs. So, yeah. The local challenge is traffic and location. But even before that, like just um yeah, just getting your foot in the door, right? Like what can you offer as a professional GM to people who aren't your friends, who you don't know as well as like a friend, presumably a friend who would DM for them. It's yeah, it's a bit of an interesting quandary. Like how do you price that? What do you offer for what you're charging, right? Let's catch up with the chat. So Don Corpus over in Facebook. What I really aim for as a DM is for my players to get involved with each of their characters and for them to feel something at the end of the session through that. Yeah, definitely. That's um like sometimes that's as good as it gets, right? Like even if their character doesn't like do so well in the session, like as far as the story is concerned, um if they've been invested, if they've been involved, then yeah, even the low points are fun. Um, GM me Tales from the Loop. um, I'll try to find time for that, and I'll let you know if I do find time for that. I've run it a couple of times. I've had a blast doing it. Um, what I've done for Tales from the Loop is get like the those like these words to kind of drive home the fact that often in Tales from the Loop, you're dealing with an era before, you know, what are handy dandy, pocket communicators. So, no mobile phone. And so kids presumably would put the everything that they know, like about the mystery, on something like a corkboard. So I kind of let with it. Usually I bring like a printed out map of the town and the area around the town, and I let the players kind of use the pins, push pins, and thread, to do the whole kid sleuth thing where they and post its right where they put together the info on the corkboard. They mark points of interest. They draw lines between clues and stuff. Put post-its up and all that. It's uh, that's how I run Tales from the Loop. I've run Tales from the Loop, and yeah, so far it's been a blast for people. You're free to use that too, like in your own Tales from the Loop games, or even things from the flood, I guess. But it's not quite as innocent anymore. I don't know if high schoolers would do that thing with a corkboard, but yeah, for kids it's perfect. For role playing as kids, it's perfect. It really captures the feel of it. So yeah, you can try that. Anything posted on Table Talk Mondays ain't posting on chat anymore. That is something JP will have to work on. I have no idea how he does his web sorcery. I will bring it up with JP. Thank you for putting it, bring it to our attention. Yes, you did post like a Twitter link. I saw. Let's put that up. Let's see what Tagoy shared with us. Screenshot because I'm not gonna blow up the account. This is a horrible take for a dice bag full of reasons. New players wondering why the DM hasn't tailored the campaign specifically to them and their character. Use unique battle maps and minis for every encounter, and have dozens of different voices and personalities at their disposal. Critical Role is a D&D what. Oh my god. All right. Critical Role is a D&D what porn is a sex. It's professionals performing it with extensive production and resources at their disposal in order to make it look as appealing as possible, but runs the risk of giving unrealistic expectations to those that watch it. And the guy who posted about it does say that many campaigns are and can be specifically tailored to their characters if that's what people want, if that's what people are cool with, and how they want to play the game. That is true. I like this thread. I'll go through this thread in a bit. But yeah, back to uh professional DMing. Lichcast says his observations that people pay for systems they don't see often, and especially ones that they are nostalgic for. Yeah, that's true. I think D&D, like D&D 5th Ed being so popular doesn't just open up yeah, truly doesn't just open up possibilities to be a D&D DM, but also for people who are kind of sick of D&D and want to try something else. Like yeah, there's a lot of games out there like Ivar. That also has the nostalgia factor because it's a long running IP with old versions. Um Older versions like also similar to D&D that go from 1st to 5th edition. Uh yeah, Shadowrun is also currently in its 5th edition with a long storied history. Also Vampire. Everything's in 5th edition. I'm just realizing. Wow. Um yeah, nostalgia is a powerful force. Worldwide Wrestling, that's an RPG. Wow, cool. It's the DM that by default Vince McMahon. Yes, that's it. Tagoy is coming out with like a pretty awesome list. So yeah, Worldwide Wrestling for pro wrestling fans. Um, Masks for superhero fans. I would also say that aside from Masks, you have I think a great. Your mileage may vary, but I think a great um system for supers is Fate, just because Fate was specifically designed to kind of bring, cinematic and what, like storybook storytelling, storybook, like comic book storytelling to games. And superheroes superheroes aren't always the superhero genre isn't always logical or quantifiable, and I feel Fate works best with games that aren't supposed to be logical or quantifiable. So yeah, um aside from masks, if you want to do superheroes, use Fate. And yes, Tales from the Loop for 80s nostalgia. um and yeah, Vince, I don't regularize my workers, McMahon. Yes, like does the DM, does the GM get to play as essentially Vince McMahon? Passion de las Pasiones for Mexican telenovela fans. There's something for everyone, essentially. Um, but yeah, um, Fate is very pulp heroism. Yes, it is. It does pulp fiction very well in general. Yeah. So, what is the topic? The topic is professional DMing in, I guess, in Manila. So yeah, it's it's something I know a lot of people do. I've seen posts like in the groups, like what, Gary Salazar on Philippine tabletop RPGs. I think he used to post a lot more often. Um, but pretty much, I don't know him personally, but Gary Salazar is one of the reasons I started considering doing doing professional, yeah, DMing and GMing, because he seemed to be having a blast at it. Like his players seemed to be having a blast, and he was doing also a lot of. I think I don't think he was doing other systems so much as like porting other settings into D&D, right? Like for to cater to his players, and to like whatever was popular, like in terms of pop culture and media at the time. Okay, so Lichcasts says Gary's strength is his set pieces and his massive miniatures showcase. So the visual and tactile aspect of his style is very strong. Cool. That is something I do not have, because I don't have a collection of miniatures, and that really goes back to why I've always hesitated to kind of to get into it, really, to charging for games and putting myself out there as a professional, as a paid uh, DM slash GM, because I want to, like I want to know I want to be able to tell people really what I'm able to offer above, um, like a free DM that I'm charging them for. So yeah, all that plastic crack that you get to play with. Um, yeah, let's go into another example of like added value. So Lichcast says Mahar has a very strong music integration game that I think would be worth paying for. Also, you just have to find your stick. Yep, I considered something like that. Like what, like making custom music and soundtracks for the games I run. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, it's really about finding like your unique, right? Your unique what is it in business? USP, unique selling proposition, like what you offer that no one else like really offers, or not no one else, but what you offer that people can't normally get for free. I'm gonna take a short, really short break. I will be right back. I'm not gonna change it to the BRB screen, but after this, stay tuned for some local gaming news, specifically for those of you who game in the south, and we have Santago to thank for this one. So I'll be back in 2 minutes. I switched the mic off before going, which is really stupid. A couple of minutes, and yeah, see you guys in a bit. Yeah, how is everyone? I mean, hopefully, I know it's Monday, but hopefully, like you've all got like positive outlooks for the week ahead. Eric sleepy. Oh no. Okay. Um. Well, good thing we've got just one. Last but not least, right? One more topic on our docket. So let's get to it. This is Serpent Sundays, and it is. Thank you for the warm welcome back. Okay, so this is Serpent Sundays, and it's essentially a good way to onboard, people to D&D. So it's D&D for newbies. It's an initiative by uh, being hosted by Buku Buku Cafe. So great place, a place with great food apparently. And yeah, Serpent Sundays. This is what your post says. Be prepared for a world of adventure. Every Sunday, they are having game masters over to teach everyone like how to play D&D. You can become an epic hero in this game of swords and sorcery. You'll only need to be a paying customer to attend, and you'll get free iced tea or coffee to boot. See you guys there. Wow, that's quite a deal. So you don't even there's no event, there's no like gate fee. You just go there and order something, I guess. Join a table, play D&D, and you will on top of that get free iced tea or coffee. Is that like one free iced tea and one coffee, or like is it like free flowing for those people playing D&D? Would you know, Santagoy? Whoa! What's with the F bomb? Asking the hardball questions. I am sorry. One free iced tea. All right, you might want to clear that up because there's no ah. You get a free iced tea or a free coffee, right? Just a suggestion, because an even harder question is I think it says or, right? Or so yeah, it's just either a free iced tea or a free coffee. I'm not sure like what's up with SAHMD, but if you're trolling, I am inclined to block you. So you know, our bot isn't. I guess our bot isn't functioning right now. But or no, you're on Mixer, so we have no. It's not showing up on Twitch. So yeah, like you know, uh, we don't really what? I think we're on the 18 plus section of Twitch, so it's not the profanity as much that matters. But like, if you're trolling, like, go somewhere else. But yeah, this is a yeah. You don't care. So alright, blocked. Thank you for coming through. Okay. Where were we? So yeah, if you're in the south, Buku Buku Cafe is where is it approximately? I think it's close to like SM South Mall, right? Let's check. Inside SM South Mall. Cool. Yeah. So if you're in the south and have yet to get into D&D, you can head on over to Buku Buku Cafe. This is every Sunday from I thought every Sunday like going forward, but there is a it is time bound. So it starts on August 4. That is this coming Sunday, and it'll be every Sunday until August 25th. So that is how many Sundays is that? August 4, 1, 2, 3, just 4 Sundays. And yeah, so four chances to get into D&D. Um uh and it'll be from 12 noon onwards. I'm presuming like 4 to 5 hour sessions. Oh, it will be every Sunday henceforth. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Well, there you go. Thank you. It's a good thing you're still tuned in, Santagoy. So thank you for sticking it out and being able to, set the facts straight. Very cool. And also, yes, coincidentally, August 25th is also the date of Session Zero. So that is gamers and GMs event uh, this coming August that shines a spotlight on local tabletop RPG creators. And yeah, um, they'll be putting out their games. They debuting their games on the day. This will be at Green Sun in along Trina Ross's extension in Makati. So just asking because he has signed up with a booth. And then yeah, I guess you better attend. All right. So yeah, I think that I'll be seeing a lot of you um at session zero because Dicecast will have a booth there. So you can, come by. Um I'd love to meet like those of you who we see regularly chatting with us on the show, on our shows rather. And we will be streaming from the event as well. So I don't know what specifically will be which part of session zero will be streaming yet specifically, but yeah, we will hopefully also be showcasing um, the floor. Like you can kind of get an impression of what this event looks like, how many will be there, and live vicariously through us, through our stream. Is it that good? Like how what is if I were to go to Buku Buku Cafe, and I'm sorry for saying this, but it's kind of unlikely given as I live in Marikina and I don't usually have a good reason for being that far south. But if I were to go to Buku Buku Cafe, or if they were to like open a branch somewhere closer to me, what would you guys recommend I try out? What should I try? What is their best example? I am not vegetarian. In fact, I am almost the opposite of vegetarian. I'm not that much into veggies, except for with a few exceptions. All right, yeah, like there's so no flops like with the dishes in Artificity's experience, also in Lichcast experience, I guess. No, but like what would you recommend? Like what should I try if ever I do go if I ever do find myself at Buku Buku Cafe? Oh my god, sinigang na baka sa gata. That does sound that does sound awesome. Evil Zapote Road is only worth driving down if you eat at Buku Buku. Makes it worth it. Salmon steak sounds even better. Dude. Nasi goreng? That's chicken, right? That's essentially chicken on skewers. Like Indonesian chicken. And it now exists in Lichcast's dreams. Ooh, okay. Artificity says crispy mushroom bowl because it's the cheapest vegan dish in the area that doesn't taste vegan or vegetarian rather. Nice. I mean, like yeah, like I said, I'm pretty much the opposite um of vegan. Oops, you guys saw a chat window there. Sorry about that. A bit of personal stuff in that. Um, yeah. Well, that's pretty much it for tonight anyway. Um, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. I have so many of you to thank for for dropping by, keeping me company in chat. Hopefully this was all informative or like discussion worthy. And you guys had fun. Uh, yeah, like contributing or even just listening passively for the lurkers. That's fine too. So yeah, thank you so much. I'll be calling it a night. Actually, I have a um, my schedule has shifted again, and it'll be that way for at least the next 2 weeks. So I'm gonna report into work at 5 a.m. later. Yay! That's not sarcastic at all because I do enjoy the fact that I'll be home like shortly after lunchtime. So I'll have time to rest up um, um, before evening streams on Wednesdays. But my work schedule is also now from Tuesdays to Saturdays. So that means that I have a full day of rest before table talk, which is awesome. Which is why like my voice isn't cracking tonight, unlike the last time I did this. I did this solo. Artificity is a guest GM on every Sunday. That's awesome, dude. I've actually never, Artificity has played. God, how many games was it that Artificity that I GM'd for you? And I think it is just the one, right? Just the one L5R uh game that kind of petered off as many other like campaigns are short-lived. Um but yeah, I've never played with Artificity as the GM. Um I think the first time, or was it? Yeah, 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 it was L5R. Um but yeah, I'd be curious to play at Artificity's table. I would love to I'd love to I don't know, experience that. Hmm. That may be worth a trip to the south. I'll see. especially as I don't have work on Mondays anyway. It might be an interesting trip. I will PM you guys like if ever I do plan on. And technically, I am a beginner at D&D Fifth Ed, so hopefully it won't be outside of the mandate of your of Serpent Sundays, and I can still participate. I am all the reason you need. We'll see. But yeah, it is. I am thinking about it. I am thinking about it. I will let you guys know. Um, yeah. Well, yeah. 5 a.m. I do avoid traffic. I'm also either. Well, right now I'm relying on Angkas. Hopefully, like they will have riders at that time. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm hoping they do, or else it's gonna be quite expensive to always kind of rely on Grab or have someone like wake up my wife to drive me. That's really not ideal. But yeah, like my my plan is to get one of those electric kick scooters and just commute to work that way for the most part. Um, hopefully it's safe at that time. Yeah, I think even the near the wells have to sleep, right? I think like just before dawn is it's like perfect. But yeah, I'll probably be getting that electric kick scooter like before the end of the week, so I'll get to try it like maybe like Friday or Saturday. See how it is going to work with that. With the benefit of like for I think for 20 to 25 kilometers it's just 4 pesos of electricity as compared to like what you'd pay for angkas. For me it's like 65 one way. Grab can get as high as 180 when it's surge, and yeah, like even like a car, because like it's like just driving me there is already a two-way trip for gas, right? It's so expensive. So hopefully the electric kick scooter thing will work out and it'll pay for itself. Or that's how I envision it working out, and hopefully yeah, it does work out that way. Um, I am rambling on. Buy a bag for your kicks. Yeah. I will probably buy a bag at some point, but um, and yeah, parking for cars. That's also why I didn't want to get a bike. A, because I suck at bikes, and B, because I would have to pay for parking for bikes still. Um, so the kick scooter is something I can fold up, and hopefully they'll allow me to store it under my desk while I'm during my shift, or at least in the locker area, chained to one of the laterals. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Um, I will see you guys next on Wednesday. Yeah. If JP can't join me, I will continue Pathfinder Kingmaker. I haven't booted up the save since the last solo stream I did was Pathfinder Kingmaker. But yeah, I'm looking forward to trying the turn-based mod as I go up in levels. Um, for the heck of it, I think I don't know. I'm kind of debating it, but I might cheat my way to a higher level just to see how it goes with a more powerful character or a group of characters, and just to kind of get myself to that part of the game where I previously left off quicker in the interest of time, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Yeah, I've heard that too. So like I think it's great that you can kind of toggle it on and off, right? So you can just do classic real time with boss for the random encounters, and then switch it on for the more important ones like boss fights or the ones you keep on losing. So yeah, that's it for tonight. Thank you again to Artificity, Santagoy, Lichcasts, Dawn over on Facebook, Also, Sin, for tuning in and chatting with us there, contributing. Um, Maury, also, I see you in. I saw you in the chat, and of course JP, who couldn't host with me today, but did tune in the early part of the stream, and kept us company. Weighed in also on chat. Um, no problem. Like, yeah, like, we're always happy over here at Dicecast to feature local gaming events, initiatives, products. So if keep them coming. Post about them on Facebook, on the local groups, and I'll usually pick it up and put it on here on Table Talk anyway. So yeah, keep on doing like you guys. Like, thank you for putting together events, putting together like these communities that we all we need to keep the hobby going uh, in the Philippines. So yeah, thank you, and I will always there will always be a space for you guys on Table Talk. Spread the word to get the word out and to get your tables more players or even GMs. Who knows? All right. Good night, everyone. See you around, and I'll play out the intro. And before that, before I forget, here is the whole all the links that we went through today. Though I wonder why they aren't coming out in chat. Is it because it's spammy and I'm being stopped by Restream? If you can't find them in chat, I'm putting them up on the Discord. So that's even more incentive to join us on Discord. Yeah, see you around. I'll play out to the intro. Um, yeah, good night.